This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Welcome to Misfit Island. This is where all the misfits gather to prepare for perilous times as we walk in this world full of deception. And how do we do that? We do that by reading the Bible. Now, I am not no in-depth Bible teachers, giving you all these deep, things and going into applications and studies and, doing this message for you. I'm just like a blue-collar Bible teacher, Bible reader. As I'm just like read the Word daily, and this helps us grow in our faith and show ourselves approved. And this is how we figure out the truth from the lies, man. We are being drowned in this world by lies. Like everything is a deception. Nothing, literally. I'd almost say literally everything has some kind of a percentage of a lie in it, and it's crazy, and it's only going to get worse. So yeah, this is Taco Tuesday, and this is my favorite day because we're in the book of Revelation. And one of these days I'm going to sit down and I'm going to literally do an in-depth outline study of the book of Revelation. But right now I'm kind of just like, do like a little tester and kind of, wing out things I've been banging in my head for years. And it's not your typical what most people teach out there. I think most people teach out there is the same way I read the Bible, read the book of Revelation. Well, actually, read the Bible, but the book of Revelation specifically. A lot of the times when I went in and read it, because a lot of it's like you have to decipher it. And a lot of it's referring to the Old Testament because most of it's dealing with the Jews. And it's written for the Jews. There are really only two chapters that are applied to Christians that are going to be here. It's chapter 2 and 3, the church age. But, how was I going to go? I said it's lost my train of thought. So, yeah, well, how do you like that? I don't know if I forgot what I was going to say about that. Oh, I remember. I'm getting old. I had a Biden moment there. Man, I do not want to get that old. I tell you, you could take me out and take a heart attack in 5 years before I would get that old and can't remember nothing and walk around like a poop in my pants and, I do not want to get to that point in life. That is not living. But the point I was trying to make is a lot of times I think people, when you sit under somebody like a teacher or a pastor and they teach you something, especially if you're new, like you're doing that milk, you're at that milk point where it's like a milk to you, and they teach you. So when you go back to it and you read it again, in your mind, because of what you've been taught, you're like, oh, that means this, and this means that. And that's kind of like, unless you like sit down on your own and do an in-depth study on your own where you just, okay, Lord, I want to decipher your word here. I want to chew the cud like a cow, and I want to I want to get a tomahawk steak out of this. I want to, douse me in some milk, but I want a tomahawk. I want to learn this, and then it's just you and him, and you read it, and he's like, I don't understand it. You take a note, and you go back and you read it again, and maybe some commentaries. But to me, not even commentaries. Because commentaries are going to make you think a certain way. Just you and the Lord. And that's what I've been doing for like the last year with this book of Revelation. And there's a lot of things in here that like it says, and people are saying it says something. Like people say this is what it means, but it's not saying that. And then I've taken where I sit down and I contemplate and I logically say, okay, when this happens, like when this happens, how long, what's going to take? I mean, like actually visualize like a movie. When this happens, this is what's going to take place, and how long does that take? How long is that going to take? And I think there's all kinds of verses that a lot of prophecy Bible teachers are teaching in the book of Revelation And they're saying, there's maybe a little gap period, and then the 7-year tribulation starts, and it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. And I go back and watch my other channels where I've clearly stated why I believe there's a minimum 7-year tribulation period because of typology. And then, and I actually think because of all the stuff that's going to take place, there's going to be a 40-year gap. So, because he's dealing with the Jews, and every time he deals with the Jews, it's always 40 years and 40 days. 40 is like a key number. And the whole point of the book of Revelation is to open the eyes of the Jews and bring them to their knees, and using man and angels, and then God's wrath is going to bring them to their knees, and they're going to realize that Jesus Christ was the Messiah, and they're going to pray for him to come back. And that's when him and in chapter 19, we come back on our horses, which I don't know if it's a literal horse, if it's just something, but I think it'd be kind of cool if we could travel everywhere on a horse, a white horse. But anyways, so yeah, Taco Tuesday, we're in the book of Revelation. I don't, so like chapter 1, let me just do like a brief to get you caught up to chapter 11. We're on chapter 11. So chapter 1, it's like the introduction, and John's on Patmos, but in verse 19, he says, "Write these things which you have seen, the things which are, and the things which will take place after this." So things he's seen, things which are, which will be the 7 letters to 7 churches, and the things after this. So again, okay, so chapter 2 through chapter 2 and 3 is the 7 letters to 7 churches, and if you break it down and you do the time span of those last 2,000 years, these churches actually fall in line with the history of the church too. So we are definitely in the Laodicean church, where Jesus is on the outside with the dead church, which is Sardis, and says he's on the outside. He's no longer. It's like he's not the center of the church age. Now he's on the outside of the door knocking, and it's an individual thing, and he's knocking, and if you allow him in, then he'll come and sup with you, and you'll be with him forever. So it's now, I don't think there's going to be a revival again. A lot of these revivals you see they're fake and phony. There's no fruit, and but anyways, and then the lukewarm church, the Laodicean church, is either you're not hot or cold. The itching ears are hearing what they want to hear, and they never want to hear the truth. I seen this meme, and it showed the top was like this mega church. It was just packed with people, and it says something like, "Tells you what you want to hear," or like a gives you a show and tells you what you want to hear. And then the bottom was like another church, and there was like 4 people, maybe 8 people, and it says tells you the truth. And it's so true. You start telling people the truth, and I don't want to hear this, because this is the last days, and it says the church, they're going to be itching ears. Is this guy telling me what I want to hear? Is he telling me what I want to hear? Not is he telling me the truth? Let me go check the word and see. Is he telling me what I want to hear? I don't like what he's saying, so they go to the next, and they find somebody that's telling them what they want to hear, and that's it. It's there's no relationship there. There's no heart change. There's no repentance. There's no evaluating your life, and there's no desire to have that relationship. There's no desiring to weed out the evil we have inside of us, or the things that are keeping us from having that fellowship, and there's none of that. So anyways, like I said, to the Jewish, this book was written by Jews, and so John was a Jew, and he wrote this, and to the Jewish people, prophecy is patterns. Like he does this, and like the pattern of Noah, and it says Jesus says as in the days of Noah, and so I don't want to go into that, but basically when the judgment came, the animals were on the ark, which I'm guessing is 3 days. Then it says Noah went in there, and the door was closed. And if you see the actual pictures of how big the ark is, I doubt Noah closed that door. It doesn't say it, but most teach that God closed that door. And judgment didn't come for 7 days. And then the rain came. And I'm sure all the people were outside, they're probably having bonfires and orgies and drinking their wine and laughing at Noah stuck in the boat. Oh, this fool. He said there's this rain, whatever that is. He said rain's coming and judgment's coming. Whoa, there's probably like a massive party outside the boat. And then, what's that? Judgment came. The rain came. The the earth was broken open, the floods of the waters came from underneath. So yeah, all those people laughed at Noah. You know, the same people are laughing at us today. Chapter 5, he says that, 4 actually says John's taken from Patmos, and he's in the spirit, and he sees the throne room, and he sees what's going on in the throne room. 5, the lamb has been slain, he takes the scroll, and the scroll is the title deed to the earth, and he's going to reclaim the earth. And he starts opening the seals. Everybody knows, I mean, most people know about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. You know, and I go into that, and if a lot of people teach you, oh, this is the Antichrist, and and go watch my other channels. It's not the Antichrist. Watch my other Taco Tuesdays, and I go through it and I explain all that. So yeah, you got the seals, where God uses mankind to judge the man. At this point, it'll be the tribulation saints. He's judging the Christians that are the people that said the rapture would never happen, and I don't believe, and then all of a sudden the rapture happens. Yes, the rapture happens, and then they're like, oh no, it was true, and those people are going to be, they're going to destroy them, and he's going to try to destroy them and the Jews. And, we have the trib saints, and then chapter 7 was like an overview chapter where he seals the 144,000 Jewish men. And then he talks about the Great Tribulation, what's happened at the last 3.5 years. And the Trib Saints are there. And each time you'll see these levels, you'll see different groups of people that are in heaven, and they're singing out to the Lord or crying out to the Lord. And then verse 8 the angels are going to start judging. God's going to use angels to judge the earth, and it's the trumpet judgments. And remember, it's the 4th trumpet, and it said, that was the 4th trumpet. He says, and then, woe, 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 to the inhabitants of the earth, because the remaining blast of the trumpets of the 3 angels who are about to sound. So, and then and I told you the woes is, I believe it's chronological, and these things don't all coincide together, and it's not all mashed, mashed together, and while the white horse is riding, and then we're building the temple, and you got 2 witnesses saying, "Oh, repent," So no, So, anyways, go back and watch my other Taco Tuesdays. If you watch any of these videos, go back to find my channel, take them. So it's Misfit Island, and you got some dude named Johnny O. That's what always comes up, But it's take Misfit Island, and it's take him to TC. So take him to the cross. Take him to TC. If you do that, I'll pop up. Yeah, and then like I said, if you're new to the channel, drop me a line, and I'll definitely get back with you. See, we have a few. Our little squad is starting to build up, man. We don't have like the little mortar, the little 5-man mortar team. Now we got like we got the mortar and the Ford Observer, and so we're building out our little army. It's a good thing. Let's see what. So that was what the. So anyways, the first woe. Remember, was the 5th trumpet, and it's the locust that comes out of the bottomless pit. And remember, this angel was given the key to the bottomless pit, and it said there's a leader of this bottomless pit named Abaddon in the Hebrew, and in the Greek it's Apollyon, translated into destroyer. It says 1 woe is past. And then so with the 6th trumpet, what was that? Oh yeah, so the 6th trumpet is where you get this 200 million army of these demons on horses that go around and kill 1/3 of mankind. So you go back and all these things that happen. It's literally it's probably minimum 2 billion people are killed. So when the rapture happens, I don't know. It could be a while off. It could be today. Hopefully it's before I post these videos. I'd much rather be with the Lord than here doing this. But until then, we're called to occupy, and I'm taking that 1 little talent, I'm trying to make it 2, so I get me a little, my little place during the millennial reign. And like I said, we'll have movie night. We're going to learn about the Lord and watch all these clips of, and rewrite the 1,000-year history and bring more people to the Lord. And so yeah, and then last week we did chapter 10, which is like an overview or a sidebar chapter where John sees this angel, and he gives him this book and tells him to eat it, and it says it's going to be sweet as honey to his mouth and bitter to his stomach. And I believe this book is like the book of Revelation, because he says you're going to have, okay, here's the book, like like, dude, don't worry about taking notes. I'm going to give you all the answers. And here's the book. And you're going to go back. As he goes back, he must prophesy again about many peoples, nations, tongues, and kings. And that's what's been going on for the last, 1900 years? I think John wrote this in like the 90s, 90 AD or somewhere in there. And we're going to start in chapter 11. And like I said, go back and watch. I get in more detail. But chapter 11, this is where I believe, this is where, and it's going to be an overview, and he's going to go back and give more details. He does it all through the book of Revelation, but this is where the 7-year tribulation period starts. So when you see, we're going to see this, what they're doing, people are trying to tell you, so people tell you the rapture happens, and believe me, there's a lot of people that don't believe in the rapture. So I would love, as we go up, because that's not going to be their salvation. It's not a salvation issue. But I would love, as we're going up, it's like, I told you, dude, I told you. But I doubt at that point we're even going to be worried about that. It's like all this fleshly stuff we think about, and all these things that we think that are going to be gone, and we're going to be in the presence of the Lord. And But I would love is like, I told you. But anyways, anywho. So they're saying, like, like I said, 4, John's taken, he's in the throne of heaven, then he goes back, these angels say, come and see, and they take him back to the earth and they show him, like, the white horse and what he's going to do, the red horse, the black horse, the green horse. So they're saying, when the white horse, is trying to conquer, what we've seen, with the boop, boop, what they conquered the world, basically, without a weapon. They did it just by, and the reason I was sidetracked there, I was seeing this video this guy was talking about, he was like saying the colors of these horses, and then the colors of all the nations, of their flags, the nations that are against Israel. And this shows us that we're in this time. I'm like, wow, really, dude? I mean, how people deduct things when they read it, and then they deduct it and try to apply it, But anyways, so people are saying, you got the trying to conquer, which I believe is all these Christians that are like, that was the rapture. And so he's trying to, like, bring order back to chaos, because the world is going to be in chaos. And I'm thinking it's going to be years. It's not going to be, rapture happens, all these things that these people did on here on earth are gone. They have jobs and they did things. They're going to be gone. And then, the world's going to get back to, in say a month, and it's all says back to normal. And we're going to have, then this guy's going to, come along. So they're saying this guy comes along the scene. He's trying to conquer without a weapon. And then you get the next rider on the horse. And he's given this power to make people want to kill each other. So now you got people all over the world killing each other. And then you got another guy comes on the scene. He's going to create a famine, which a lot of people think the rapture's going to. This is all going to take place soon, because they see the foreshadows of all the stuff that's going to happen during the tribulation period are happening right now. They're preparing for it. The things are going on, like they're cutting out the fertilizer, killing all the cows, killing all the chickens. They're saying you can't eat rice because it's destroying the planet. And that's going to bring a famine, and that famine is coming. I think it's coming before, and that's why people say, "See, we're in this situation right now. There is no rapture. We're here during it." No, this is like playing patty cake compared to what's going to happen in the book of in chapter 6. So now you got famine. People can't eat. They're starving to death, and then you got the other guy, 2 riders, hell and Hades, or death and Hades, or I forgot. I should go back and read it. But anyways. Let's some of the videos. And it says they're killing with actually, let me go read it because I'm butchering it. I can't remember it. So you got the pale horse, and the name of him who sat on it was Death, and Hades followed with him, and the power is given to them. There's 2 riders there. I think there's 2 world leaders, 2 people that's come on the scene, and they're like these world leaders. Because, the first was the world leader, it didn't work. So, you're out of here. The next world leader comes, kill. You didn't work. We've got another world leader, the rider on the third horse. What was the third horse? I don't know. It was the black horse. So, the second one was red. Black horse. Now you got 2 leaders. And this says they got the kill with the sword, with hunger, with death, and by the beasts of the earth. So, these guys are killing. This is the power of the 4th of the earth. I don't know if they kill the 4th of the earth, but you're talking billions. So they're saying, while all this is going on, over here in chapter 11, measure out for the temple and we're going to build the temple. And we got the 2 witnesses, and they're witnessing. And that, I mean, that's just the first 4 seals. Then you got the the 6th seal, the cosmic disturbances, where the people are hiding in the caves and they're saying, they know that God is judging them, and they're saying rocks fall on us. And so all this is going on, and they're over building the temple, and you got the 2 witnesses, and you got angels in the heavens saying, don't take the mark, and you got these 10 kings rising up, and then you got the little horn rising up in them, and that's all going on while this is going on? I don't think so. So anyways, let's dig in. Look, I took 20 minutes. We're going to go along with this one because Taco Tuesday is too important. I mean, these are tomahawk steaks. Poof, the big old steak, the big old bone, got the butter on it. Oh, this is meat right here, man. Meat. Taco Tuesdays. No more milky for the babies. This is some meat. So anyways, chapter 11, verse 1. Again, I said this is the beginning of the 7-year tribulation period. I mean, it's like an overview. And then we're going to go back, and he's going to give you more details where these 10 kings rise, and the little horn rises up through them. But anyways, let's dig in. 11, verse 1. Then I was given a reed like a measuring rod, and the angel stood, saying, rise and measure the temple of God, the altar, and those who worship there. But leave out the court, which is so these people are like, oh, they got the red heifers, and they're going to build the temple, and they are preparing. They got all the stuff they need to do it. They already have the prefab walls built, and the temple's it's not going to be built until this point. I'm telling you, mankind, the men right now, those globalists, they got this plan. They think they're going to save the planet and make us eat the bugs. Well, that's going to be interrupted. Their plans, they're going to be gone. They're out of here. They'll probably die during all this. They're not going to survive it. They're all old, evil white men anyhow. So they're gone. Their plans thrown out the book, and all this chaos is going to go. And now I don't know how long it's going to take to get back from this, this what was the last judgment, the 6th trumpet. I don't know how long it's going to take for all that to go through. It says, but these people, when all those judgments came, and these 200 million horsemen, demons on horses are killing men, and it says they still didn't repent, and they're worshiping demons and idols of gold and silver, and I said, the fruits of their life is they don't repent of their murders, their sorcery, they're doing their drugs, their sexual, orgies, and having sex with cows, and women on women, men on men, all that, or the theft. So everybody's stealing, killing, doing drugs, having sex with whoever. All that's still going on. And it says they're still worshiping idols of gold. That tells me that the Antichrist isn't here. He's not on the scene. He hasn't come up. He hasn't gone on the throne yet. He hasn't said, I'm God, because when he does that, nobody's worshiping nothing but him. All the Muslim faith, the Christian faith, the Jewish faith, they're all going to be murdered and destroyed and killed if you don't worship. And then the world's, it's going to be like invasion of the body snatchers, pointing out everybody that's survived all of this. But anyways, so they're telling you, oh, we're going to get rid of the temple's good. No, it's going to be built during this time right here. After all of that madness I just told you, they're going to start. Now, and then he's telling, okay, now, we're going to measure this temple out. It says, leave out the court, the outside temple, and do not measure it, for it has been given to the Gentiles. So something, the area they think is actually where the temple is going to be rebuilt. I think like the dome of the rock, or whatever it's called. That's going to be like the outer court, and they're just going to leave it because this guy's going to sign a peace treaty, and his peace treaty, the people are going to say, there's going to be like all this madness is done, and the smoke clears. These guys rise up. They start bringing order to the world. This guy's going to bring peace. He's going to let them build their temple, and everybody's going to be like, oh, peace and safety. This is awesome. There's not going to be, the walls are down now. Israel has all their walls are gone. Everybody's, happy go, whatever. Rainbows and puppy dogs. And so this guy's going to give them the power to do this. And it says that they will tread the holy city underfoot for 42 months. And now we're going to start seeing, now he's giving us dates. So these people will say, so for the doctrine of the rapture is imminence, that the Lord can come back at any time. Nothing has to take place for him to come back and take his bride. Now, the people say there is no rapture, and we're going to go through all this. He starts giving us 42 months, 3.5 years, 120 days. I mean, so if you're here at this point, you're going to know exactly when everything happens. Exactly. I mean, to the day. I guarantee. I mean, they prophesied in the Old Testament the very day that Jesus would go into Jerusalem and pronounce himself as king. So once you're here, you're gonna, I mean, if you're here and you have a legit Bible, and you can literally, you can go out and be like a prophet yourself, because you can read it here and you can say, this is exactly what's going to happen in 160 days, whatever it comes to. But here, 42 months. And it says, I will give power to my 2 witnesses. So now they're building a temple, right? So now, all of a sudden, these 2 witnesses are on the scene. So I don't know if it's, you got because they're going to go back and get more detail where these 10 kings rise up from the sea or the earth or something. I don't know. And the little one comes up and he's sign, the world, so, this world's going to like, oh, we got this new, because the earth dwellers are looking for a world leader to solve all these problems. Like in America, these people think Trump's going to solve the problems. No. I mean, he may make our walk here better, or with this 150% inflation when they try to tell you it's 6%. When you go to, when you go buy anything, if say you pay $1 and then in 3 years you're paying $2.50, that's not 6% interest inflation. That's 150% inflation. If you go bought a Big Mac meal for $3 and now you pay $9.50, that's like 250% interest or inflation. So I don't know why all these people are saying inflation is like 6%. At one point it was like 12. With Trump it was 25. I don't get it. Anyways, so now it says, so you see this temple's going to be built, and it says that the Gentiles are going to tread the city for 42 months. That's 3.5 years. And then he says, I will give power to my 2 witnesses, and they will prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. Again, the same amount of time. So when this temple's being rebuilt, now you got the witnesses in Israel, and they're testifying. So they'll prophesy. Verse 4. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands standing before God of the earth. Who's God of the earth? It's Satan. There's all kinds of scriptures that tell you that. It says they stand before him. So he's on the picture. And if anyone wants to harm them, fire proceeds from their mouth and devours their enemies. Now visualize this. Picture this. Right now we live in this, we don't see miracles, and we don't see the things that they see in the Old Testament. The Red Sea parting and stuff. We don't see these things. A miracle nowadays is like an old person that actually accepts the Lord and becomes a Christian. Those are miracles. But imagine this. You got these 2 guys, and it says fire proceeds from their mouth and devours their enemies. How is that going to look? Oh, breaking news, 5 o'clock, CNN. And these guys, it's going to be awesome, man. I wish stuff like that went on now. But anyways, the world we live in now, the supernatural, or the natural, linear, people think tomorrow's going to be like it is today, and that's gone. Now we're living in the non-linear, and we're living in supernatural. We've already went through demons and 2 different waves of demons and earthquakes, and it's so. If you're here at this point, I couldn't even imagine waking up in the morning going, what's going to happen today? But anyways, if anyone wants to harm them, he must be killed in this manner. Verse 6: These have power to shut heaven, so that no rain falls in the days of their prophecy. They have power over the waters to turn them to blood, and to strike the earth with all plagues as often as they desire. So, man, these guys, there's going to be 2 guys, and the world's going to hate them. You're going to see this. The world is going to hate these guys, but they can shut down waters. Oh yeah, really? See this movie, John Lynch or David Lynch, in the Empire, and then the chick that does a little hit. That's where I get that from. Yes, I have a bunch of the world. I've lived in this world for 60 years, so I got a lot of crap here. The world's a ghetto. I love the Lord, He loves me, and that's all that really matters when it comes down to it. But anyways, that's going to be crazy. Going to be crazy, some crazy times. And then in verse 7 it says, when they finish their testimony, how long is their testimony? 1,260 days. And they're going to be walking around sackcloth. Imagine that. 2 guys walking around sackcloth. When they finish their testimony, the beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit will make war against them. Who's that? We just read that, didn't we? In chapter 9? It says their power was to hurt men. So these demons' power was to hurt men for 5 months. Remember, I said the Walking Dead. They can't kill themselves. They had a king over them. The king over them, the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, but in Greek his name is Apollyon, the destroyer. So it says, wait. Is that what I want to read? 5th angel sounded and saw a star fall from heaven to the earth. To him was given the key to the bottomless pit. He opened the bottomless pit. And then it says, the beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit. So it's either the guy that ascended down that had the key that opened it up, and you had the guy that was in, because Satan still has access to heaven, and or maybe not at this point, but he still reigns and rules of the earth. He's the ruler of the air, or So this guy, I don't know if it's the angel that has the key to the bottomless pit of Satan, or the guy that's the ruler or the destroyer of the bottomless pit is Satan. He just came down there and said, I am your God, and go kill mankind. And smoke from like a furnace rises out, and the whole earth is invaded by these demon horses. It kills. Imagine the people that is walking on this earth during this time. Oh man. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna be up in this big amphitheater in heaven, and we're like looking down and going, eating heavenly popcorn with my chocolate milkshake fruit, and we're like watching this stuff take place. I don't know, or maybe afterwards in the 1,000-year millennial, we can have like movie night, and we're teaching our people about the people that are born during this time, because they're going to be born in the flesh like we are right now, and they're going to have to make a choice just like we do, and so I don't know, but yeah, so it's one of them. But this guy comes out of that pit to make war against God's two, and there's all kinds of different who they think it is. I think Abraham, and I think a lot of people, most people agree one of them is Abraham. I forgot the other one. They said there's like 2 guys that people because of what the powers that are given to them and stuff like that. But the Mount Transfiguration, where Jesus had a meeting on the mountain, and John and them was asleep and woke up and seen him. Who are those 2 guys were? A lot of people believe that's who these 2 witnesses are going to be. Anyways, either Satan or this. So the beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit will make war against them, overcome them, and kill them. And their dead bodies will lie on the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. So if that's all you had and you just read that, I mean, this is like a part of how you decipher and try to figure out God's word and what he means. So if he just told you that and boom, and he went to the next verse, I mean, what would you say? The spiritually called Sodom. What was Sodom? That was where, remember, Lot had to take, all these men were trying to rape these angels. They wanted to have sex with them. They were trying to bust down his door and offered his virgin daughters to him. I mean, think about that. Offer your virgin daughters to these men to like have their way with them. Man. Anyways, it's spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. What's up with Egypt? It's like the world's system at the time, or I don't know. Like Babylon. Is Babylon? I don't know. Anyways. Says, then he goes on to tell you, where also our Lord was crucified. So he tells you. There's so many things in here he don't tell you that. So you're like, okay, maybe it was this, maybe it was that, and like people talking about Babylon. We'll see it later. Well, it's not Babylon. America's Babylon. America's not Babylon. We'll get to that later. So anyways, That tells us it's Jerusalem. He's talking about Jerusalem. That's where these guys are doing. That's where the ministry's at, and that's where they're killed. They're killed in Jerusalem. Verse 9, then those from the peoples, tribes, tongues, and nations will see their dead bodies 3.5 days. See, there's always this mathematical equation. 3.5 years, 3.5 days, 40 years, 7 days, 7 years. It's all over the place. Seven, especially the book of Revelation, sevens. I mean, it's hundreds or thousands of sevens in the book of Revelation. So they're going to see their bodies for 3.5 days and not allow their dead bodies to be put in the graves. So, the Jewish cultures, I think like that. It's like instantly you want to bury them and have a burial or their customs, I think. It says, and so verse 10 says, and those who dwell on the earth will rejoice over them, make merry, and send gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented those who dwell on the earth. So like I said, during this time, all throughout now, it says you're dealing with earth dwellers, peoples, tribes, tongues, nations. And it's like the only time is like Christmas and in the world, they're all doing what they did over here in verse 9. It says they did not repent of their murders, their sorceries, their sexual immorality, and their thefts. So at this time, right now, they're probably not doing their murdering and their thefts. They're probably just doing sorcery and sexual immorality. And they're giving gifts. So stealing your stuff, they're giving you here. Hey, brother. Oh, these guys are gone. Yay. Now, verse 11 says, now after 3.5 days, the breath of life from God entered them and stood on their and they stood on their feet. And this is definitely a movie night in my city. And great fear fell on those who saw them. Could you imagine? You got the Mardi Gras party for 3.5 days all over the world, and then all of a sudden, they stand. And you think 3.5 days, man, your body's like bloating and rotting and full of maggots. I doubt they are, but you see out here a deer gets hit, and it's like a couple days, and then all of a sudden it's bloated and it stinks, and then 2 days later it's like flat. It's gone. The maggots ate it all. All you see is skin and bone. That's sad. I really hate seeing that. These beautiful deer and they get hit by a car. It's like, Lord, why don't you teach these animals to not sit in the middle of the road? I don't get it. I really don't get it. It bothers me. And like I said, I have these filing cabinets. That's in one of my files. So it says they stood on their feet and great fear fell all those who saw them, and they heard a loud voice from heaven saying to them, come up here. Imagine the whole world's like, what? And all of a sudden, come up here. Oh, the fear. And it says they ascended to heaven in a cloud, just like Jesus did in the book of Acts. They ascended. So CNN, holy smokes, where are they going? The whole world's going to see this. It says that they ascended to heaven in the cloud, and their enemies saw them. In that same hour there was a great earthquake, and 1/10 of the city fell. In the earthquake 7,000 people were killed, and the rest were afraid and gave glory to God of heaven. So remember I told you the first woe. Remember, like I said, it's chronological, and you got the trumpets. And the first, he said, after the fourth trumpet, he says, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, because the remaining blast of the trumpet of 3 angels who are about to sound. Now, the first woe was all these demons that came out of the pit, these locust demons, and they was killing people. They were like horses, and they was going around stinging people for 5 months. Remember, that was the first woe. So then you had, John got the little book, remember? So now you got the temple's built. You get the witnesses. So the temple's there. And these witnesses test for 3.5 years. Then it says that the 10th of the city fell, or 7. There's a key to the 7,000 people, or something like the Old Testament and the New Testament. But anyways, so he's saying the second woe is past. So all this stuff, the seal judgments and the trumpet judgments, this will be the 6th trumpet judgment, happens at the midpoint. the midpoint of the tribulation period. So this guy that kills these people, I would imagine he goes straight from there and he goes straight into the temple, or maybe the indwells this leader that's rising up and possesses him, and he goes into the temple, because you're going to see that after his time, he goes in the temple midway point and desecrates it, says, I'm God. And that's when the Great Tribulation is going to happen. a lot of people teach, I mean, that's when it's going to start, that's what triggers it, but a lot of people teach, like, because the things that actually happen in the Great Tribulation period, I mean, it's like, it's going to destroy the planet. I mean, you're not going to be able to live on this planet. You know, that means they take away all your water and your food and everything, so, you know, it's not going to, a lot of people say that it actually happens at the very end of it, you know. So maybe this guy comes and desecrates a temple and says there's going to be like maybe a couple of years of people are like, yay, they're going to take the mark and they're living a hat and, you know, fat and happy life. And we'll get to that later. I haven't read ahead, but just trying to go by memory. So anyway, it says the second woe is past. Behold, the third woe is coming quickly. And then, you know, I've read up, and it actually doesn't say this is the third woe. There's a thing where it says woe to the people. So I'm not sure exactly. I think that woe to the people has got to be the third woe, because it doesn't actually. It literally doesn't say this is the third woe. So yeah. Anyway, should I read the verse real fast? No. Yeah, I've already went like 40 minutes. He's got been staring at my bald head. What's up with that? Oh, not good. Not a pretty sight, huh? Oh well. Yeah, I'm 60, man. What do you expect? So yeah, we'll start off in next week on, if we're here, the Lord tarries. We'll start in chapter 11, verse 15, the seventh angel sounding. Yeah, it's getting fascinating, getting interesting. All this stuff's about to take place. So I don't know. I may be way off, and maybe all this stuff does happen at the same time. You know, I don't see it, but maybe it does. And that's what that's what everybody teaches. So I mean, I may be way off. I mean, read the, you know, go in the prayer closet, pray with the Lord, and read it yourself and see. See, I mean, you know, like I said, I always, that means this, that means this, that means that, because it's what I was taught. And then I started actually sitting down and going, I'm trying to put it all together, like a time frame to put it all together. You realize, you know, it doesn't say that. It says this, and this is what's going on. And if you start analyzing, like, well, let's see, if a third of the mankind is killed, how long is that going to take? I mean, how long does it take to kill a third of the mankind? And then how long? I mean, you just don't leave her, like say 1 billion people. You just don't leave them there to die and rot. You know, it takes time to clean up that mess. I mean, to me, it doesn't fit. This stuff, all this stuff does not fit in a 7-year period. Now, when I first started in the 80s, listening to people teach this, nobody talked about gap period at all. It was like, rapture happens. This guy's going to come on the scene right away and sign a 7-year peace treaty, and the 7-year tribulation starts. And then, you know, I don't know, like maybe the last 10 years, I started hearing people talk about gaps. Small gaps, you know, maybe a couple months, maybe a year. I think I heard one guy say minimum 3.5 years, because it talks about this war is going to happen, and the Jews are going to take the weapons from that war, and they're going to use it for 7 years, for, you know, like, use those weapons as energy for 7 years. And you'll see at the 3.5 year point that it says drop everything and run to the mountains. So that might just be the believers, and everybody else, all the Jews, are still left behind, and maybe they're still burning those weapons. But some will say it's got to be a minimum 3.5 year gap, because they're going to be using these weapons for 7 years, and when they're gone at the 3.5 year point, they're gone. So, you know, they're not using them then. You know, they're being protected by the Lord. So yeah. Anyway, Taco Tuesday. Sorry I went long, but sorry, not sorry. I love this book, and yeah, thanks for watching. And so yeah, like I said, if you're new to the channel and you subscribe, drop me a line, and I'll definitely get back with you. And welcome to the family. And you know, if you want to, you want to keep chatting with me, and you know, I guess as long as we're this little squad, I still have time to do all that. And I see some of these guys, they got thousands of people, you know, leaving messages, whatever. And I don't, you know, if I get to that point, I don't think I'll be able to get back with everybody. But yeah, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on Wednesday, Hump Day Wednesday. Drum roll for Hump Day. Yeah, I'll give you that drum roll tomorrow. All right, see you guys tomorrow.